Good morning, everyone. Today is lesson 3 in our research unit. Our topic today is going to be inequality in public education, and part of your homework will be to narrow down your own topic into a solid research question that will drive the rest of this unit, your research and your writing about your research. If you look over our agenda on this slide, you'll notice that I've added one thing to our lesson that's not on your syllabus, and it is an overview of what happens if we switch to online learning. So I want to make sure that you understand how we're going to run the class. If we shift to online curriculum, I don't know what your experience in the springs were in your various classes, but you will be responsible to come to class via Zoom each day we have a class. So you are going to type or copy, if you want to, these rules onto a Google document. The document will actually be uploaded to Turnitin today. So I just want to go over what is expected of you if we switch. The first one, understand that your attendance will be graded every day via Zoom. That means you have to attend class. Number 2, each Zoom session will be 30 minutes long, and I have included the time frames on this slide for your particular class. I'm starting each Zoom session about 30 minutes after the class begins so that you can use the time when class normally begins to go over the PowerPoint for the day and the instructions in Zoom to get a feel for what you're expected to do, since when we are shifting to research writing and so much is on documentations, I want to make sure that I spend the Zoom time answering your questions about how to do things. So you'll go through the video that I attached to each PowerPoint and each lesson prior to joining our Zoom meeting. I expect you to be on time so that I don't have to spend all of my time adding people to class rather than answering your questions. So you can see on number 2 what time your Zoom class will begin. If there is an extenuating circumstance where you cannot join our Zoom session at that time, I will allow 1 or 2 times for you to just join another class, but not every day. Number 3, notice your class settings begin 30 minutes before the actual class begins. Again, I've talked about that already, so that you can go over the lesson and come to our meetings with relevant and important questions. The Zoom codes, you will find them on Canvas within our lesson. It will be towards the top before the PowerPoint, before the resources, so you can join that way. If we go to remote learning, everything will be submitted to Turnitin and not shared with me. I don't want to open up over 100 emails from you every day. I want them all in the same place. So make sure that you find the appropriate assignment in Turnitin and upload it. As far as uploading assignments, if we go to a remote learning setting, you have to adhere to deadlines. If you upload the assignment the following day, you will receive on any assignment 10% deduction. If you upload the assignment after one day, or in other words, 48 hours after the class and beyond that, I will deduct 50% from the class or from the assignment, and then subtract from there the quality of your work. So to make sure that you understand this exercise, in Turnitin this morning, I uploaded an assignment for you to attach your document where you copied these questions. At the end, make sure you type the sentence, "I understand the rules about a potential shift to online learning and accept the consequences of my decisions." After that, would you type your first and last name? That assignment will be uploaded to Turnitin. It's worth 20 points. All right, so now for your academic notes, we are going to go back to our BYU Style Academy exercise. There are 2 resources you need to use for today's lesson. The first one is watching a video about how to combine sentences. And so you can click on the link to watch the video if you are not in the classroom. The second activity, or not the second resource on this page, are the sentences that you're going to combine into a document to type up as one sentence in your academic notes. All right, for the main part of our lesson today, we're going to discuss another social issue. And remember, this is one that I'm using as an example for you guys to think of how you can take a big topic and narrow it down into something specific. So this essential question is, can zip codes be a predictor of educational success? To give us some background to that topic, I want to use a few resources. The first one is a famous painting by Norman Rockwell. Most of you have probably heard of him. I added some background information at the bottom of the teacher's notes. If you're not here, please read them. I'm not going to take time to read them today, but I will be discussing them in class. Anyway, this little girl is Ruby Ridge, and this is the day that she is being taken by the federal authorities to her school because she is crossing or going to a school that she's been told to go to a segregated school, and she's not. So, powerful moment in American history that reminds us zip codes impact what kind of an education we receive. The next thing that I would like you to do is click on this link. It takes you to an article that's been done by Harvard entitled "When There's Inequality in E-Learning, It's Usually Baked into Life." There is a video on this website to give you some really relevant information on how our public education where we live impacts our ultimate lifestyles later on. Watch the video. I think it's about 8 minutes long. This slide is a map of Chicago. About 12 years ago, I had the opportunity to go with Jordan School District back to tour some schools in the Chicago area. And the first day of our visits, we went north to a school called Adlai Stevenson High School. It's been recognized nationally as one of sometimes the top school in America. It's public school. But for the last 12 years, I've always checked, and it's always remained in the top 5 schools of America. It has an amazing program. The kids who go to school there, almost 90% end up going to prestigious colleges with full tuition scholarships. Anyway, it was an amazing opportunity. On days 2 and 3 of our visit back to Chicago, we went to the south side of Chicago, where I saw completely different experiences in public education, which scared me drastically. The 3 schools we attended were all behind bars, and the stories that we heard of the families that lived in those boundaries were horrific. The poverty is rampant, the crime is rampant, and to survive a day in school at some of those institutions is a miracle in itself, in my opinion. This is not the picture of one of our schools. I found this one online, but I want to just tell you briefly about a school that we visited on the south side of Chicago. It's actually a charter school. When we went through the gates that look like this, And then into the school, we had to go through security check, a lot like a prison, to make sure we had no weapons. And the kids have to go through that every day. It was an all-boys school, and the kids in the school were predominantly African American, but all came from low socioeconomic schools. Yet they all had on white shirts, ties, and black slacks. One of an NBA player, and I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Johnson, has set up a foundation to pay for the kids' schools, to give them opportunities beyond the average schools in the Chicago South Side to learn a lot more. This is a picture of Adlai Stevenson and goes over some of the accolades of that school. This gives you some background to the people who attend those schools in the South, and you can see that murder and crime is a part of all of their lives. This one talks about how the quality of education that happens in these schools, which is horrible. You can see that only 5% of the kids that attend these schools on the South Side achieve proficiency in any discipline within the school. This one of the problems in the South Side of Chicago, this was from last year, not from when I visited, talks about they cannot get teachers in the buildings to teach in these areas. And so one of 3 schools or classrooms in Chicago had substitutes the entire year. They could not find teachers to go into them. So now I want to shift to Utah's schools. Are they all equal? Take a moment, pause this video, and look over the quality of education if you were to go to one school to another. If I were narrowing this down to a topic, I just thought one of the things that I would think about is the quality of schools in the Navajo reservations. They are usually in Utah's lowest achieving schools. Part of it is their isolation. Part of it relates to their culture. Part of it relates to the overwhelming overturn of teachers who go into the reservations to teach for 1 year or not even a year. And they're constantly having to train new people to work with these students. So now what I'd like you to do is look at this slide. I'm running out of time, so I don't have time to teach it to you, but it's so important you know what makes a good research question, since our next lesson will actually begin research. As you choose a topic, look at some of the words on boldface type here to see how that works. Here is an example of a crazy research question, but I'm using it to illustrate the point. So the famous statement, why do chickens cross the road? I've narrowed it down to where, if it really were a research question, how to come up with something that is good. So here are some examples of research questions, and you are actually going to pull out or create a document with one of the last slides and use some of these topics to get online, go to various news agencies to learn about some social issues. In class, I'm going to go over some. If you have a friend in class, you might have them share with you what that is. I also, on this slide, want you to click on creating a good research video. The link is on this page. So now for your homework, I want you to type up a document where you're going to brainstorm potential topics for you. I want you to create 3 categories: local, state, and national issues. And then using a browse on the internet, that's what we're going to do the rest of the class. I want the students to go to ksl.com, to go to Gale Researcher in the Utah Online Library and look for potential issues. Go to CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and look at some of the topics that are relevant and find something that you're passionate about. Then you're going to narrow down your topic using the accordion strategy as before. Make sure when you write your statement that it fits the guidelines on slides 22, 23, and 24. And then also think, am I creating a problem solution essay? Look at your homework. I'm running out of time. Good luck, and we'll see you